That is quite recently, because the last 10 years or so, every year we've done a summer tour. We're doing another one again this year. We're playing in the open air, and then it attracts in the open air, particularly when you get down south in a few sort of swamp fields and all that. It attracts the insects. The insects tend to fly down the lights and to sort of arrive at the focal point of the lights, which is often me or Ray or John, you know. And so we're quite used to having a lot of insects, and Ray, particularly with the harmonica, is used to finding insects in his harmonica, and when he sucks, he suck a little super vampire, you know, and then he swallowed a few. But I've swallowed a few. But this one time I could feel something on my head and in my hair, and then I was playing and then trying to wipe it away, and I just thought it was sweat. And then I could feel it inside my ear, and then after, I suppose, about 5 minutes, it dawned on me that it actually was some kind of insect that had gone right inside my ear. And every few seconds it was freaking out, going like that, and so I'd be trying to sing a sensitive song with this racket going on inside my head, freaking me out.
So you got rid of it in the end. You had to call for a doctor, didn't you?
Eventually I stopped the show and I did the classic thing. The others were looking at me, what the hell is he doing, you know, in the band? And I said, is there a doctor in the house? And of course, when you say that, there's actually about 12 hands go up. Most of them fake, you know, it's all right, I'm a doctor, let me through. But didn't believe many of them. But anyway, so, and then there was, so I left with this 12 men out into the dressing room, and they poured some water in and eventually managed to tip the whole thing out. It was a beetle, a Japanese beetle that had got in my ear. And beetles can't walk backwards, they can only go forwards or turn round, so it just have to keep going, you know, it comes out the other side. But it did come out, and all the time they're in the dressing room trying to get it out, I can hear the band out there sort of playing, you know, like doing guitar boogies.
Is he ever coming back?
Yeah. And there was another guy standing there, pretend doctor, who's saying to me, you know, the first time I saw you guys was like, shut up! It's the last thing you need to want to talk about. But I eventually came out and I got the doctor to come on stage and said, oh, here it is, it's a Japanese beetle, look. There it was.
Did you like the fans, the adulation, the groupies? That appealed to you?
Sounds great the way you just put it, actually. Yeah, it sounds great.
Was it?
It was always a lot of fun, particularly in that era. It's not really like that anymore. The fans are still there and still loyal to us, and we have a lot of fun every year, you know, at different sort of fan fests and things like that. And we've got a great following. I think in the 60s and the early 70s, of course, was the time of the whole groupie era in rock and roll. And there was a kind of strange, innocent fun, as President Clinton would probably say, in that as well, in a way. It's just like kids larking about, and yes, it was all good, kind of innocent fun, really. But there's a few crazies as well, and psychedelics. People come in their spaceships, and you say, oh yeah. And a lot of the festivals, of course, you had to be very careful what you drank as well, because often I was spiked only once, but it's with just some mescaline,
you remember
some hallucinogenic kind of stuff. Yeah, but a couple of the guys were seriously dumb at gigs, you know, and particularly if you know what's coming, you start to feel it come on, you say, oh my God, 16 hours I'm going to be going on this now. And
what's it like when you play together? I mean, I think you said somewhere you loved each other and you hated each other in equal measure. What's it like?
Well, that's kind of like a family, I suppose. It is sort of a love-hate thing. And but it's not hate is the wrong word, and love is the wrong word. It's a kind of brotherhood, and they're the only people. The other guys in the band are the only people in the business that I don't have a contract with, and I don't need to, you know. And I know we've been up against it so many times, and
nearly broken up.
Came close to it, yes. Came close to it in the 70s. Came close to finishing altogether. But we've just been through so many kind of crisis points that we've come through, and we know everything about each other. It's gone too far now for us to have anything on each other. You know, it's just when you're in a real bind, you know that there's 3 other people there who will be right behind you.
It's a nice feeling.
Yeah, it's great. How
does it work when you're composing? Do you start with a tune in your head? Do you start with a verse, a line?
Exactly.
How does it work?
That's pretty much right. I mean, I love to play anyway, so I play for my own pleasure, guitar or keyboard.
So
And
you'll play a
then-
bar or two. You'll
Yeah.
sit there and you'll like what?
Yeah.
For instance, just whatever's in your head at the time.
Yeah, it's just whatever comes to me at that time, whatever makes me feel good, and that just strikes a chord within me somewhere. You get a feeling around it, and there's also a need to express. There's kind of cathartic need again to express yourself and
Express what? What do you need
some
to
of the
express?
inner kind of feelings that you have. Often you find musicians and writers are strangely kind of private people in a way that have often very difficulty being that eloquent about how they express themselves or how they even live their lives sometimes. And it's actually a lot of the living is done within a song. Writing a song is almost like, I sometimes feel for my wife Marie, I have done through the years, because it's like me going into another room that nobody else knows how to get into that room. So it's another part of my life that's a private part of my life.
Is it emotional? Is it emotional?
Yeah,
as well as
very.
writing?
Absolutely, yes, very. Much more, it's much more emotional writing a song when you feel that you've got something that moves you, that will move other people to identify their feelings in themselves. I mean, what is it about? Why do people like songs? I don't know. It's a beautiful mystery, isn't it? But yes, so it's much more emotional writing them than it is actually recording them. Recording process is a process that you have to go through to try and get it almost as you thought it would be when you wrote it.
You mentioned your wife Marie.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long marriage, hasn't it? It's been a good marriage.
Yeah,
and
sure.
It's been unusually long for the pop business.
I suppose
hasn't
so.
it? What's
I'm
been
told
the
that.
secret?
Probably I was away a lot.
It's been a part-time
I wasn't
marriage.
at home. Yeah, I wasn't there most of the time. That's probably what it is.
But you
actually.
managed, because the band and you particularly, you had a clean image, didn't you? You stayed away from drugs? Stayed away from, you didn't trash hotel rooms?
Didn't trash hotel rooms, couldn't afford it. And then when we could afford it, we'd seen too much and been around too much. It was never an overnight success with us. Our success came quite slowly. So experimented, been there, done it, was part of that psychedelic drug culture, I suppose. Particularly when we first arrived in America.
LSD?
Wow, along with most of that generation. Yeah, of course.
Religious
yeah,
cults as well?
Yes, and been through, whether you want to call them cults or whatever, yeah. Yes, I tried all of this stuff, and on the road to some kind of enlightenment, which I hope that I have achieved in my
You did find
life. I found some kind of peace with myself, at least, yes. So, yeah, that's all I hope that you can.
Not many people can say that. You enjoyed the money, didn't you? There was a time when you passed by a shop and when you got it, the big check arrived. I don't know how much it was. The big check